Hi guys, today we are going to see translations. Okay, what is translations? Translations means the person, for example, one person doesn't know the language of another person. Okay, so we need between them one person to translate. Okay, he's got translator. Okay, the same way we are going to use the in networking network address translations, that is NAT. Okay, for one IP address into another IP address we need to translate. Okay, so this NAT network address translations is used for to translate one IP address into another IP address, or else we can say mostly it is used to translate private IP into public IP and public IP to private IP also. Okay, why do we need to translate in IP addresses? Okay, now you just see that from LAN network to we are going to translate to WAN network. Okay, now we are using all the Googles and all this other public platforms. Okay, now we are using private IP addresses, so we can say that we just don't want to show our IP address to the public. So the NAT translation, it translate our IP private IP into change into another IP. Okay, it will translate shows like public IP address. Okay, it shows it translate to the public address. Okay, we are working in a company, so in that company 100 employees are there. Okay, for each employee we cannot purchase each public IP address, right? For each public IP address it's costly, so we cannot use purchase hundreds of IP address. For example, if there is thousands of employees are there, we cannot purchase 1000 public IP addresses, it's costly. So in this purpose they brought to that network address translations. Okay, so for example, now just just see that translations. Here two types of translations are there. One is NAT, another one is PAT. Okay, network address translations and port address translations. That this NAT coming to two types. Okay, one is static NAT, another one is dynamic NAT. The PAT also coming to two types, dynamic PAT and static PAT. Okay, this comes under that the static NAT and dynamic NAT. Dynamic PAT comes under the source NAT, we called as source NAT. The static PAT comes under the destination PAT. Okay, here we see what is source NAT. Okay, source NAT changes the source IP address of outgoing packets, typically replacing a private IP with a public IP for internet access. This ensures devices on a private network can communicate with external networks. Okay, so source NAT is commonly used in routers or firewalls for outbound traffics. Okay, what they are explaining here, like, so for we are using private IP addresses. Okay, so in this private inbound, okay, we are in LAN network. Okay, we are in LAN network, we are going into WAN network. So in the source side, you can say LAN side it's happening. Okay, so we are calling source NAT. Okay, what is destination NAT? Destination NAT is used to change the destination IP address of incoming packets. So here you can see most of these things destination NAT we are using for web servers. Okay, so the web server will be that one common IP. Those who are coming that come and access that web server, their IPs will be changing. The web server IP will be constant. Okay, this translations happening, it's called destination NAT. Okay, so here we are going to see each and every NAT, what is the type and what is the syntax of this, why we are using static NAT, why we are using dynamic NAT, why you should be use dynamic PAT. Okay, we are going to see with the practicals. Okay, for static NAT This is one-to-one mapping. Okay. For example, if your LAN network one, uh, if your LAN network 10 IPs, 10 systems you are going to use. Okay. For example, one small company you are using 10 um, 10 laptops you are using, so you need 10 public IP address. So this is called one to one mapping. The first person should use another one IP, okay, public IP. So he cannot the second person also cannot use the same IP, okay, that differ, okay. That is one to one mapping. One fixed IP address is transferred to a fixed public IP address. Okay, the mapping is done manually. You have to configure it manually. For this IP address you have to match with this public address only. You cannot mix it with that. Okay, so this is mapping is done manually. In static NAT, if 1000 systems wants to access internet, 1000 public addresses are required, which is costly. Already I told that is costly. Okay, public IP address is costly, so we cannot purchase for 1000 system for 1000 public IP addresses. Okay, generally used for servers, example web server. Okay, this syntax, okay, first we have to define that inside and outside interface. Then here we have to that interface which is coming inside or outside, we have to mention first interface. Okay, then we have to make a policy. Okay, here we have to make a policy how it should be done. Okay, from inside to outside statically. Okay, from private to public. Okay, so we have to mention it clearly. Now we are going to see that. Okay, lab, just see here, I just made a topology like this. We have three branches already. I configured with AGRP. Okay, for this branch 1 we are going to do static NAT. Okay, this remaining two dynamic NAT and dynamic PAT. Okay, now this branch, okay, this branch 1, okay, how many PCs are there? 3 PCs are there. Okay, for this 3 PCs, okay, I am going to configure static NAT. Okay, I just want to, this is private IP addresses, this is public IP addresses. Yeah, now we are going to see this branch 1. Okay, this branch 1 IP addresses, what are the PCs using the IP addresses? Okay, see that 192.1 PC1 is using 192.168.10.1. okay, this address, it holds this address and I configured it, and this second PC is .2 and third PC is .3. okay, now we are going to assign this IP address. Okay, now we are going to this IP address, this when it goes out to, okay, goes out to this ISP. Okay, how it should be translate, this 192.168.10.1 should be translate into 200.0.0.1. okay, it should be, we can see that 200.0.0.1 only. Okay, we should not see that this IP address. Okay, now we'll see how it's going to configure it. Okay, now how it's going, this first branch, it's going through this router. Okay, branch 2 router, it's going to reach this ISP. Okay, so we are going to configure in this router, branch 2 router. So just see. Okay, okay, now see, just I have configured all these things, we can communicate with each other. Okay, now just check with that, ping 8.8.8.8. okay, see, we have a communication and we can reach till this PC. Okay, I'm pinging from here to here. Okay, ping 192.168.10.1. we have a reachability. Okay, now what I am going to do, okay, when this branch 1 IP LAN PCs, okay, going out to this router, through this router it should be translated. So we are going to translate the things in this branch 2 router. Okay, now what we have to do, now we are going to see which interfaces are inside, which interfaces are outside. Okay, see that this is in this router, G02 is outside, it's linking with that outside ISP's router. Okay, so see that G0, okay, G00 is inside, this also inside the branch. Okay, so now what we are going to do is interface G01 we are going to assign as a inside NAT router. Okay, inside NAT, so IP NAT inside. Okay, now the logs will come. Okay, it's done. Now okay, we will assign this also. Okay, interface G00, this also IP NAT inside. Okay, okay, now we are going to this. Okay, I'm just going to translate this two IP addresses. Okay, because we can see the differences. Okay, I'm not going to assign for this third PC. For first PC and second PC I'm going to assign, we can see the differences. Okay, now we are going to assign directly, this is statically. Okay, IP NAT inside, IP NAT inside, source which is, this is static. Okay, okay, IP NAT inside source, then this is statically we are going to assign it, so use the keyword static. Then see that which IP address, this IP address I am going to mention. Okay, 192.168.10.1 is to assign with that map with that 200. Okay, 200.0.0.1, that's it. Okay, now we are going to assign that second IP. Okay, so what we are going to do here, 10.2, and here we are going to map with 2. Okay, that's it, the translation done. Okay, now what we are going to do, exit, then use right command. Now we have done this part. Okay, still we need the communications. Okay, what we have to do, we have to go to ISP router. Okay, from here to here we need a communication. Okay, how it will communicate to this IP? Already we have a communication with that 192.168.10. okay, this address we can communicate, but we didn't mention that ISP router doesn't know that we are using that 200 IP address, so we are going to assign it. Okay, configure it, we'll do that configuration. Okay, so how we are going to, statically we are going to assign. Okay, IP route, which IP, For which network? 200 network. Okay, for 200 dot 0 dot 0 dot 0 255 dot 0, which is the gateway? 12 dot 12 dot 12 dot 2. This is the gateway. Okay, okay, done. That's it. So we have to use do right. Now I'm going to check this, how its translation is happening. Just check with. So we will use debug. Okay, debug IP ICMP. Okay, so from now I'm going to open this. Okay, already I assigned, we have IP addresses and all these things. Now I am going to ping. Yeah, I missed it. Not inside G02, I didn't mention that. Yes, I didn't mention that. NAT outside. Yes, right. Go to that branch router, branch 2 router. Yeah, mentioned inside, I forgot to mention outside. Yes. Now configuration team int G02 IP NAT outside. Okay, so I forgot the things. Now it will be working. Okay. Ping now. See the differences. Okay, now see the difference. Before that I didn't mention that outside. Okay, I didn't mention that NAT outside, just it translated to the same IP addresses, which is 10.1 only. Okay, the destination source is 888 and destination is 10.1 only. Now see the difference after I mentioning that outside as G02 as outside. So see that now the source is 888, the destination is, it's converted into, translated into 200.0.0.1. Okay, now just check with that. Now I'm going to check with the PC2. Ping 8.8.8. Just see, for 192.168.10.2 we mapped with 200.0.0.2, right? It's translating to that IP. That's it. Now I am going to show that PC3 how it works. We didn't assign that. So PC3 ping 8.8.8. Okay, just see, we didn't map with that, so it's normally it's as it there, as it is their IP addresses. Okay, these are the, this is called static NAT. Okay, now we are going to see that dynamic NAT. See, dynamic NAT. For static NAT we did one-to-one mapping for statically. Okay, for dynamically also one-to-one mapping. With that dynamically it will be, what is that, you can say no need to assign for one-to-one. Okay, you can assign a pool of IPs. Okay, so see that one-to-one mapping. Here a number of private IP addresses are translated to a pool of public IP addresses. Okay, the mapping is done automatically in dynamic that if 1000 system wants to access internet, 1000 public addresses are required, which is costly. Same, that is same, but the thing is just different. Okay, for example, in a company you are working in particular department, you are working 10 people over there. Okay, 10 people over there, but for 10 public IPs, which is costly, so what they will do, they are purchasing 5 public IP addresses and they make it as a pool. Okay, the 10 people cannot use at the same time. Okay, for 5 people may be working as a shift timings. Okay, um, morning shift they may come 5 people and night shift may come 5 people, so they people can use that 5 public IP address randomly. Okay, now if the person, night duty person, comes extra in morning, he cannot work with it because he cannot access that ranges. Okay, that already filled with 5, so he won't get this access. Okay, so this is called dynamic NAT. So how we are going to, same, we are going to assign this interfaces. Okay, define the interfaces, then what we here we are going to do, use the access list for selecting the traffic. Okay, and then we are going to create a pool of public IP addresses. Okay, for example, if we have 5 IP addresses for 10 people, okay, likewise we can we have to create a pool, then only we are going to make a policy over in that. Okay, so see how we are going to do that. See here, I have done this static NAT with this. Okay, now we are going to this branch to dynamic NAT. Okay, so going to use dynamic NAT. Now I have 3 PCs are there. Okay, 3 PCs are there. Now I am going to use 2 public IP address. Okay, because we have what is that, if you are going to use 3 of that, I cannot show the difference. Okay, so for the difference purpose only I am using this 2 IP addresses only. If you have lot of lot of PCs, you can use it 2 or 3, likewise you can match it with that. Okay, so just see that. Now I am going to same branch to router, going to use branch to router. Okay, see here, this is already we configured. Okay, the interface we have configured, this is inside a interface, this is outside interface, done. Okay, now what I am going to do with, I am going to create an access list. Okay, so how we have to use, okay, for this we have to create, okay, access list number. Okay, we are going to give one number and permit, what I am going to permit. Okay, which network, this network. Okay, 192.168.20.0 network. What's the wildcard mask? 0.0.0.255. Okay, this is done. Now we are going to make a pool. Okay, now I just allowed, okay, what are the IP addresses, what are the networks should be permitted. Okay, this done. Now I am going to create a pool. Okay, IP NAT pool. Here branch 2, we are giving a name as a branch 2. So what are the IP addresses here, public IP addresses? We are creating pools. So, okay, the branch 2 is a pool name. Inside of it we are going to declare this IP address 0.0.1. So starting IP address to ending IP address, because now we are using 2 IP addresses only, so I am going to this 2. If you have 10 IPs, so you can mention that 150.0.0.10. Okay, now I am going to use 150.0.0.10. 0.0.2. Okay, and net mask, what is the net mask? Net mask is 255.255.255.0. Okay, this is done. Okay, now it's done. Now we have to create a policy. Which policy? Okay, so this access list should get the IP address from this pool. Okay, so IP NAT inside. Okay, source list, what is the source list? That is 1, which is access list. Okay, 1, pool name, what we mentioned, branch 2. Oh sorry, there is no space for branch 2. So sorry, source list. Okay, now it's done. Okay, now in this part we have done it. Now we have to make a connection with that ISP, because see that the ISP router doesn't know that the IP address of 150. Okay, 150 IP address network doesn't know. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to create a static IP route. Which IP address? Network 150.0.0.0. Okay, net mask 0. So what is the gateway? 12.12.12.2. This is the gateway. Okay, now done. Okay, now I am going to ping this with, okay, just see that ISP. So debug IP ICMP. Okay, now I am going to open this. Open this. Open this too. Okay, so just ISP, open the ISP. Now for example, now I am going to PC3. Okay, going to connect with this ping 8.8.8.8. Now it's connecting. See that. Now first, this is using first come first serve. Okay, for I didn't assign for any particular IP for any particular private or public IP. Okay, so this first PC3 comes first, so it's using that first IP. Okay, now just see that the PC1, it's going to communicate with that. Okay, ping 8. See that. Now we took second IP 150.0.0.2. Okay, now the PC2, okay, if it is coming, see, destination host unreachable, and else here no communication. Then you won't connect with that because the pool already filled. Okay, that's it. Now I am going to show that PAT, port address translation. Okay, for this both the static NAT and dynamic NAT, we need 1000 public IP addresses and to match with that. Okay, whatever the things that it will be costlier. Okay, so for this case we are going to use PAT. Okay, so what is PAT? Port address translation. A number of private IP addresses are mapped to a single public IP address. Okay, so approximately 64 addresses can be mapped with single public IP addresses. Through this port translation, we can we can maximum number of IP use the IP addresses with the single public IP address. Okay, the mapping will be done automatically. The traffic will be segregated based on the port numbers. Okay, so for example, we can think that only one public IP, how we can use it. Okay, so this translation use port number for each devices. Okay, now see that how to configure it. So first we same as we have to define the inside and outside interfaces, then we have to create the ACL, okay, access list one. Okay, then we have to two types of we can make it. Okay, if we have a public IP address, we can mention that we can through that pool also we can define what is that, we can configure it. And another type, we can using the interfaces outside interface. Okay, I'm going to show this outside how we can use the outside interface. Okay, so this also we can use. Here we no need of pool of IP addresses, only we have to define that inside and outside interface. Then we have to create a ACL, then we have to mention the interface name. That's it. Okay, now just see that. Okay, this is the branch 3. Here I am going to use this interface as a, what is that, 11.11.3 as a outside, okay, outgoing interface. So like it won't reflect this IP, okay, 192.168.30.10, it won't reflect it. It shows when it translate into that ISP, it shows this interface IP address only. Okay, just see how I am going to do this. So branch 3 router, here I am going to use enable configuration T. So G02 is the outside. Okay, int G02 IP NAT outside. Okay, then interface G00 is the inside. Okay, IP NAT inside. Okay, now exit. Okay, now I'm going to create access list for this. Okay, we have to permit this addresses. Okay, so I'm going to create access list 1 permit 192.168.30.0 network with a wildcard mask 255. Okay, now I am going to make a policy. Okay, so which policy I have to make? So this interface I have to mention this interface. So IP NAT inside source list 1. Okay, then we have to mention the keyword interface. Which interface? This interface. Okay, so which is that name, interface name we have to mention. So G02. Now exit. Right. Okay, now just check with this ISP. So we make it debug IP ICMP. Okay, debug is on. Okay, debug IP ICMP, so on. Okay, now I am going to this. Oh, it's okay. Now ping 8.8.8. Okay. Now check with this ICMP, see that. Now you can see the difference. Okay, now while it's going out, it's not showing that address of 168 dot sorry 192.168.30.10 address. Instead of that, it's using this interface address. Okay, right? Now I am going to connect with PC2 ping 8.8.8. You see that? Now where is the ISP? This also using same interface. Okay. Now use that. So how many PCs you have? You can use a lot. Okay. Through that it will pass through that interface only. For now PC2 ping 8.8.8. See, okay, it's running. Okay, this is port address translation. Okay, thank you.